Good afternoon, guys. Today we're going to look at the S&P 500. We're going to look at the QQQ. We're going to take a look at IWM and the financials. Okay, first thing is first. If you guys are new, welcome. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, bell notification button. That when we go live on Sundays, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you guys won't miss it. We go over charts, the plan for the week. We go over education, anything you guys need help with. Hit the like button if you're getting value out of the videos. And what's the last thing? Oh, rtbtrading.com. Feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the description. And what we're going to do first, let me set my little timer here. We're going to try to wrap through this pretty quick. I set a 15-minute timer. Try to do a market recap and get through it as soon as possible. Okay, first things first. Friday was the day we were talking about. It appeared as though they were putting in some sort of a bottom Thursday and Friday. Possible higher prices to come. And then, of course, today that confirmed by the breakout over the weekend. Futures on Sunday, we broke out, and now we're coming into a little bit of resistance. What you see on the screen is the S&P 500. And then, of course, on Sunday, we did talk about the bearish scenario. What would it look like if we were bearish? And what we were talking about was there is no reason the S&P 500 should be back down towards the Friday lows. If the S&P 500 was back down towards Friday lows, that would be not good for the market. Of course, we broke out today. And this is the thing, is a lot of the movement comes in the New York, or excuse me, a lot of the movement comes in the Asia and Europe trading sessions, which for us are the futures. It's overnight. There's not a lot you can do about it. There's only so much time in the day that we can trade. So what do we do with a day like today? To be honest with you, there's not a lot you can do with a day like today. If you were trading the S&P 500, do I enter long? Do I short it? In my opinion, it is in no man's land. It's in the middle of nowhere. You can't, well, it's not very intuitive to short. In going long, it becomes a little bit more risky because we're already, quote unquote, extended off the lows here. And so the thing is, we are already up 4.5% almost off the lows. But then again, we're going to be coming into the zone where shorting it might be a better route as far as risk versus reward. And so let me zoom in down here to the hourly time frame and really kind of see what's going on the chart. And this kind of price action that we saw today, I saw various commentary as far as throughout the trading day. I got questions throughout the day asking me what I thought about any kind of sell-off today. Is it possible? Is the bearish case still possible? Technically, yes, it is. You could draw a line just kind of, I know it's kind of at an angle here, but it's more of a zone going across the screen here. There is a little bit of resistance. And the thing is, this last hour of the day, I saw questions in regards to are we now selling off? This is why I like to use hourly time frames, daily charts, hourly charts. When we're looking at lower time frames, it looks scary in the moment, but to be honest with you, we gapped higher on the day, we put in a low, and then we took off to the upside. There's nothing in this price action. I'm gonna just highlight this price action. To me, this is a bull flag pattern. It did not reject at resistance. And even if the price did reject or was to reject, that wouldn't necessarily be the sign to short. Maybe if we took out the lows of today's low or even the opening price, if we started taking out those lows, that would be possibly a good area to start looking at some short trades. Now, the question that we have on our mind right now is this up here? Well, yeah, I would call this a market top. We did make a lower high. Is this another lower high? And it could be a lower high. Maybe tonight we sell off. I don't know. But we might also be coming up into this price area up here. And if we did, it looks like that bull flag would be playing out to the upside. And if it played out to the upside, that would be a good area of interest for possible short opportunities, and not necessarily coming up into that price being the short, but more the rejection and possibly making a lower low or a lower high. That would be an area to attack to the downside. However, I have to urge caution to the bears. This kind of sentiment in the last couple of days is extremely bullish. And again, it more to me looks like a bottoming pattern. And I don't mean to say that in the same sentence as far as this is a top, this is a bottom. But the thing is that's what it is. This was a top. this was a bottom. Technically speaking, traders can be long against this bottom, but at the same time, you know, we are in no man's land. Traders could also be short against this high up here. And what do I mean by that exactly? What I mean is if we go back to the daily chart is, in my opinion, you could technically let price come up here, and one short entry would be right up around 344, 343 price area. Another one would be this all-time high. Well, the all-time high for sure is on the table as far as a short setup. If price was to retrace all the way back up here, that would be another area to lean into the short side. But again, I have to say that in a way that you have to know at what price you are wrong. And for me, if I was going to short the all-time highs, that price would be probably around 361. And the reason why is we were already up here once. If we start closing up here in this area, if we start closing up in this area again, traders are going to want to hit that 360. It's just going to be psychological. They're going to want to close a day above 360. You know, we've already seen that game being played out too many times before. They're going to want to make it look like they're going to stay up there, and then they're going to roll over or possibly roll over. But again, that's pretty far away. We're looking at, that's another 7.5% away. I would not be surprised to see that happen. I don't know necessarily that we'll even get up that high. We might just try to retrace halfway up here to maybe 343 area or 344 area. And let's see how much time we have spent. 15 minutes on the on the S&P. 8.5 minutes left. Let's run through it. So again, tomorrow, well, just to wrap that up, right now you're in an uptrend. There is no candle on the chart that says short me, in my opinion. But then again, looking at the hourly, it is possible, if you know at what prices you're willing to take that stop loss, whether that's 344, 343, or this all-time highs. Those two areas would be really nice to take short trades. Anything below that, I'm not so sure. I'd want to see the price roll over first and make a lower low and a lower high for starters on the hourly chart. Let's go to the Qs. And of course, we're going to go over the SPY and the Qs. And the reason why is there are so many traders that trade a lot of the stocks throughout the broad markets that will have an impact from the S&P 500, from the NASDAQ. Collectively, they change the prices of the Qs and the SPY and all the other ETFs. But we want to know what the broad market is doing, all the stocks as a collectively. So looking at this, same thing. Something I thought was interesting. I saw this today. Something I thought was interesting. You see this run up right here. You see this top up here, and then it sells off. Something I thought was really interesting is if you look at this top, it looks pretty similar to this down here. I'm not saying we're going to roll over and start making lower prices, but it does look a little bit familiar. It looks a little bit interesting looking at that. Just something I noticed today. But then again, we gapped higher, we pulled back, and then we closed extremely bullish on the day. There is resistance up here around 378. I'll give you a closer price. 378.60 to 379. There's some pretty heavy resistance up here, and especially maybe we will come all the way up here, take out these high, follow my cursor if you can. Once we take out these highs over here, maybe we will take the highs out a little bit and then begin rolling over. We talked about this weekend where if you do want to enter long, the best time to do it, in my opinion, is we see a bottoming action, it rallies, it makes a bull flag pattern right here. We want to see price come up here and then trade sideways, setting up to make higher prices. It is that setting up process that are good long entries, as long as you know at what price you're going to be stopped out of the trade. And then if you're going to take the actual breakout, it's not very... You have to be cautious. You really got to be cautious, in my opinion, taking a breakout. Breakouts are kind of risky because a lot of times we see them fail. As you notice right here, it failed here, it failed here. Breakouts are risky. In my opinion, it's better to wait for the breakout, wait for the back test, and then begin making higher prices before attacking to the long side. So right now, again, to be honest with you, we could pull back in the Qs all the way down here. Maybe we'll go fill the gap tomorrow at 270. I'll give you an actual price. 271.62 would be a gap fill candidate. However, I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I think what appears to be happening, just looking at today's price action, is that it's going to want higher prices first. Maybe later on in the week we'll come back to fill a gap. We'll see, one day at a time. There's no point in trying to figure out where the market is going to be in 5 days from now or 4 days from now. nobody knows, and to be honest, nobody can say one way or another that price is going to be anything tomorrow or the next day or the next day. That is trying to predict the market, and in the end game to that game usually is losing money. Trying to predict where the market is going to be. Instead of doing that, in my opinion, it's better to just trade what you see, trade the chart that you see in front of you, using risk management, using stop losses, and targets as far as where are the next resistant points. We don't need to squeeze every last dollar out of this run. We can begin scaling out of the long positions, but to try to like guess where the market's going to be, it's extremely hard to do. Okay, IWM, same kind of thing, and IWM has kind of been a market leader. You saw it lagging, especially when it started rolling over here. You really saw it lagging, and so we do see somewhat of a short squeeze developing right now. Again, I don't know what the price is going to be tomorrow. We will be coming into some resistance up here around 153, and if we dig it up to 153, that would be filling up some of the gaps that are above. Let me go to the daily chart. We can actually get a sense of what's going on here. So daily chart, same thing. We're in a gap right now, close to one. Oh, we pulled back away from it, but maybe tomorrow we'll be up in this gap. Extremely bullish pattern these last couple days, and I believe the IWM out of all of them really can start to run like we saw it back here. I'll highlight it on your screen, like where we saw it to run almost perpetual buying, short squeeze, short covering scenario. That is absolutely possible to start getting up here. I don't want to predict that that's what's going to happen, but just saying, like, looking at the past patterns, it is possible for price to actually do that. And so if you are in the trade, maybe just put your stop loss at the day low of each day, and just keep putting it at the low of day each day. Let's look at the XLF, and then we'll wrap it up. And by the way, guys, feel free to put in the comment section if you want me to go over certain charts, certain sectors, certain things you guys want to see. Go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will try to do a video on it as soon as I can. So looking at the financials, we did take this long trade on Thursday, I believe. Thursday, Friday. So you can see we ran up into the gap, ran up into the moving averages, and we pulled back a little bit. I believe that there can be higher prices. One thing is for sure, there's going to be some resistance up here, and I'm going to give you a price. And this is any bank type stock you guys like to trade. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, HSBC, Citi, like any kind of banking sectors banking stocks you like to trade. So 2470 in that price area, 2450, 2470, there's going to be some resistance up there. If not before, there could even be some down here, like today's high, for instance, was resistance. If for any reason we gap higher, if we can get back above this blue line, actually, let me redraw the line, because it's kind of down here. If we can get back above this blue line across the screen and we can start trading in this range again, that is extremely bullish. It kind of reminds me of of Boeing, where we saw and I don't mean to just jump around here, but so with Boeing, it's like we saw this price action where it broke down, and you can kind of see the breakdown. It was in this. Do this. You can kind of see where Boeing ran up about over here, and then it created this pattern right here, and then it's almost like a bull flag kind of a pattern, except for the problem is that it broke down out of that pattern, and you could even maybe draw the line down here as far as support. There's one thing is for sure, when a chart does this, where it should have, in theory, because it broke down and closed down here on the daily chart, it should have waterfall sold off, but it didn't do that. It rallied the next day, Friday, back up into the consolidation area. And the reason why you see such an extension is that is extremely bullish. And I don't mean that's bullish for tomorrow. What I mean is that was extremely bullish on Friday when we closed back up into that price area. So if you were short, that would have given you the idea that, you know what, I should get out of my short trade, because it should have broke down and waterfalled. It didn't do that. It recovered out of the bearish scenario and is flipped extremely bullish. We will see what happens with Boeing. So anyway, that wraps it up. Hopefully we kept that under 15 minutes for you guys, made it brief for you guys. Again, if you want to see a certain chart, feel free to put in the comment section. Join us on Sunday, and again, subscribe, bell notification. We go live Sundays, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.